Hi everybody, this is part 2 of this flashlight revision, and we last left off with this shape. So in the last video we made the general shape of the flashlight, and we made this divider right here. Alright, so you can go back, there's that extrusion, we made a revolve, other extrusion, and another extrusion. Alright, so we started well enough. Let's continue on with what we have here. So just as our next point, or our next feature to make, right now I'm eyeing this component right here. So we can start with the circle. And let's start with the circle, because the circle has to cut through everything. And then this box shape right here, that we can cut later on. So if we start with the circle, we're gonna have to find some important dimensions. So if we make the circle right here, not really working as intended, but you can see what I'm trying to get across here. We're making that red circle. Let's find some important dimensions. So here's a big one. We got this dimension right here. Alright, that's not working as intended. But we got this dimension, right? The circle line through it, that just means diameter 11. Remember, our dimensions are millimeter, and you can see this arrow. If we zoom in, this arrow is touching this tip, or this inside ring, the inner circle. So we know the inner circle diameter of 11. So we could, just go back here, because we know it's going to be 11, but we don't know where, but we can at least start making the circle. And so choosing a plane for that hole cutout, we can start it on either side. Doesn't really matter, because that circle is going to cut through everything. But if we wanted to be precise, suppose we start a sketch on this side. Right, click there. Let's get a normal plane. Always remember to click escape. And let's start with the circle. And let's dimension it. So we can press D, dimension, and type in 11, press enter. And so now we want to make sure that the circle has that horizontal constraint. We constrain it horizontally to that origin, the origin being that point right there. So it's working out fine. But we should only be able to drag it left and right, but we have to dimension it somehow. We go back to our drawing here. Okay, let's keep looking around, and I found our dimension. So we zoom in here, we got from this length all the way to the center, that is 25. So let's incorporate that. Good thing here is we have to go from this left side, right, where this line starts to turn flat. not this one, but this one right here. But you can't really see it from this view. So let's flip our view. Let's get normal plane. And now we get to see what we're doing. So it's basically we dimension from origin to point and make sure it reads 25. Press enter, it's all black. It's looking really nice. That's all we need. It's drawn on the back side. And so now we go to our extrusion tool, we go to remove. And so now it's trying to remove everything. So we could, because with this flashlight, we're not going to make any revisions. But hypothetically, let's say something in the future arises and you're trying to just keep it consistent. So you're not doing any unused extrusions. We can just do up to next, just that it only cuts up to there. Like I said, it's not a necessity, but it just future proofs the design to avoid any errors. And so now we got that hole cut out. Alright, and I suppose if we wanted to, we can see that there's an outer ring here. We get inner ring, outer ring, but if you look on the inside, you only have an inner ring. And here you can see that it sort of bends out. So we could incorporate a fillet, so we can do that right now. Fillet of radius 2. So let's do that now. Click on the fillet tool. We'll click on an edge, and now have it read 2. Click the green check mark, and all done right there. Typically I like to leave fillets towards the very end, but now we can get it over with ease. So now let's make that box shape. And so here's that box shape I'm talking about right here. So right away we see that we're going to use this fillet on the inside. So it's going to be square box, but you can see right here it's filleted on these edges, and we got the radius 1, so we can just save that for later. And as we scroll down, we can see width of 34, and it goes from the farthest edges, and 14 from farthest edges also. And you can tell that it's pretty centered on the circle. So let's do that. But before we even start doing that, right, let's say you thought, oh, we just make that rectangle, we know it's going to start on that circle. So we could, I mean, it's hard to select a plane here that's sort of flat and it's going to start where it needs to be, right? That's sort of difficult. There's not really a plane we can do, but because this is a curved surface. But on the bottom side of the box, right, instead of a curved surface, it's a flat surface. So let me show you what I mean. Well, here it is. All right, we got a flat surface here, and it cuts all the way through. So it's hard to pick a plane on this top side, but we can pick a plane from this bottom side. And here we can see it's 3.7 millimeters away from this bottom edge. So let's make that plane. And so for the plane tool, it's right here. We'll click on plane, click on that side, and see now it's already showing us a preview of the plane. Let's type in our offset distance, which is 3.7. and it's still going outward. So let's flip it and green check mark, and now we have that plane. So now we can start a sketch on this plane. Go normal, and right here now we can start our rectangle. So we could start corner rectangle or center rectangle, but let's go with center rectangle. Something else we could do, because we're not really getting that center relationship to pop up when we first try to lay it down. We can click on the circle and select the Use tool, shortcut U. So we click that, and basically it grabs a shape and it makes a sketch for you. So you can see it took that hole and it made a circle on our plane. So now that we got that circle, it'll be easy to lay down our center rectangle. But let's make this construction or shortcut Q, because it's only going to help us for our center rectangle. It's not going to really do anything useful for this plane. And so now we got that center. Let me do that again. We got that box to show up. It tells us that our center rectangle is going to be coincident on that point. And now we can stretch out and we can start dimensioning. So that point is going to be 14. And that's going to be 34. And now we can do extrude, remove. Same thing here. We don't have to do blind. We can do up to next. And it'll be fine. Green check mark. Actually, it won't be fine. We'll do up to face. There we go. So for some reason up to next doesn't register, so we do up to face and we select that interface and green check mark. Alright, and now we got our box. This is where the switch for the flashlight is going to be housed. We got all that done. And yeah, might as well. Let's do the fillets. We saw them in the drawing. They're 1 millimeter. So the reason why I said that usually I do fillets for the very end is usually fillets mostly act as a a nice aesthetic for your designs. There is some cases where it helps make material stronger, but it's something you leave towards the very end. First you get a rough sketch of your design, then you CAD it out, and you try to get it to look as you sketched it out on paper. And after you have a finished CAD, something that you like, then you can beautify it or add the aesthetics of the fillets. So usually that's my course of action, but here we have a finished drawing. We're just trying to replicate it. Let's go step by step. If we don't do the fillets now, we might end up forgetting them later. So they're all done right there. And see, now that we understand what we're doing, we can go through this relatively quickly. So now let's continue on and make some other features. And so here you can see this back, from this back side right here, you can see that it's round and then it fillets, turns flat and round. But there's, it's flat here, but here it's rounded. Okay, it's still rounded, so we're gonna have to make that flat. So let's work on that. So what's the best way of doing this? Let's think about it. So there's two ways of sort of doing it. You can draw a flat plane, right? Sort of do it like offset. You can offset it from, this plane, or offset it from the back here. Or you can make a tangent plane here and then offset it up a certain distance, right? So that plane has an offset of, let's try to figure it out. So here it's 25. Okay, right here. So we got from this back side to this side is 25. And then from here, we got from the top to the flat edge is 9. So we know that from here to here is 9, or if we do some math, 25 minus 9, we get, what is that, 16? Yeah, 16. So we know this distance now. But 9's an easier one to deal with because we know flat side's right here. So we couldn't make a plane there, but it becomes an issue because if you try to make a plane all across, right, you have to make sure it touches. I mean, we could attempt it, but I am telling you right now that it's the more difficult approach. There is a simpler one. We can just draw a line on this plane. We can draw a line this way and then use the use tool. Let me rephrase that. We'll select the use tool, or the project entities on SOLIDWORKS. For the shape, we can trim off what we don't need, and then we can extrude it all the way up to next. So that's the easier approach, and that's what I'll be doing today. So let's start a sketch right here, and we can use the use tool. So click on that edge, press U, and then we get our U shape or semicircle. Click here, or on one side of the semicircle, click on the other side, and make sure you have horizontal and coincident. Click escape. We'll press D for dimension. Click on this edge and this top edge, and make sure it's 9. And then we'll trim what we don't need. We'll trim that and that. Click escape, and see, look, we have our flat side. So basically we're filling it up with material that that's added right here. We'll do an extrude. We'll flip the direction, and instead of doing the math and try to figure out how many millimeters it is, easier approach, we'll just do up to next. Look at the preview and see that it's what we want. And look at that, it's exactly what we want. No fuss. We can do up to next. Most of the time that should work. If not, we could always do up to face and click that face. So either or. If you have trouble with up to next, sometimes the software doesn't recognize you can do up to face. If you really have to, you can do blind. And we got that shape down. And let's just finish it off with the fillets. And so if we go back here, well, let's click on that first. So from this angle, you can see there's fillets here and here. All right, so we got this side 2.5. And we got it for this side, 2.5. So you can make the assumption 2.5 here, 2.5 on this side, 2.5 here, 2.5 there. Same thing here. This shape, 2.5. Same thing here, 2.5, 2.5. So everything we're doing, all these fillets are going to be 2.5. So we'll click on the fillet tool, and I mean, might as well, let's just type this in, 2.5, press enter, and let's click all the edges that we're going to be filleting. So we'll fillet that. Let's keep filleting. And so here's only one edge. And let's just double check. Alright, we got one and these two right here. So one and these two. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have these here and there. So we're missing one. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 edges. So this gets us 1, 2 edges here. This is another 2, so 4 in total, another 2. That's 6 in total. Here's 1, 7. Okay, we're missing 2 that we didn't account for. Yeah, I know which ones we didn't account for. It's these right here. So if I unclick these, yeah, those are missing. Okay, I'll upload a new drawing that does include those. For now, we're going to be using the assumption that they are all the same. And they should be all the same. Alright, it's coming together, right? It's getting there. The only thing that we are missing, we're missing a couple other fillets. Okay, since today's all about fillets, sort of, let's make these final fillets over here. The fillets I'm talking about are right here. So right here there's a 10. So it goes all the way through the flashlight. So let's use the fillet tool there, rotate it across, click there and make sure it says 10, and green check mark. There we go. It's most of our flashlight. So the only thing that we are missing is there's going to be a revolve going on this top side. So this thing that sticks out, and then 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes, and we'll make 3 holes. yeah, that's it. So technically these two, we can count them as 4. And the 2 holes at different diameters, and this last hole here. So we'll do that in the next video. Alright. So, I mean, for now, you know, rewatch the video, get up to speed with this CAD. I'll be releasing the new one free later. Feel free to ask questions down in the comment section below. I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can. I'll also include a link to a drive folder containing the flashlight drawings down in the description, but I'll be updating them. And lastly, remember to have fun and take care.